Long ago, in the vast and shimmering kingdom of Persia, there ruled a powerful but sorrowful king named Shahryar. His reign began with promise, but a deep shadow fell over his heart after a terrible betrayal. Discovering his queen had been unfaithful, the king was consumed by a bitter rage. Believing that all women were deceitful, he made a cruel and horrifying vow. He would marry a new bride each night, and at the dawn of the next day, she would be executed. This, he thought, was the only way to ensure no one could ever betray him again. Day after day, this dreadful decree was carried out. Fear and sorrow spread like a plague throughout the land. The vibrant kingdom grew silent, and the air was thick with the weeping of families who lost their daughters. The Grand Vizier, the king's most trusted advisor, was heartbroken as he was forced to present a new bride to the king each evening, knowing her fate. But in the face of this darkness, a beacon of hope emerged. It was Scheherazade, the vizier's own daughter. She was known far and wide not just for her beauty, but for her extraordinary intelligence, her boundless kindness, and her captivating gift for storytelling. She had read countless books and knew the histories of ancient peoples and the tales of forgotten kings. When Scheherazade learned of the king's escalating cruelty and the despair of her people, she made a decision that was as brave as it was dangerous. She would volunteer to be the king's next bride. Her father, the vizier, was horrified. He loved his daughter dearly and begged her not to throw her life away. "My child," he pleaded, "why would you walk into the lion's den?" But Scheherazade's resolve was firm. With a calm strength, she told him, "If I can save even one life, my own will not have been wasted. I have a plan, father. Trust me." And so, with a heavy heart, the vizier presented his own daughter to King Shahryar. That evening, after the solemn wedding ceremony, when they were alone, Scheherazade did not tremble in fear. Instead, she began to speak softly to the king. She asked if, as a final request, she could tell a story to her younger sister, Dunyazad, who had been brought to the palace to bid her farewell. The king, intrigued, agreed. And so, Scheherazade began to weave a wonderful tale, a story filled with adventure, magic, and thrilling mystery. King Shahryar, who hadn't felt anything but anger for years, found himself listening with rapt attention. The story was unlike anything he had ever heard. The characters were vivid, the plot was gripping, and his imagination was ignited. But just as the tale reached its most exciting, nail-biting climax, Scheherazade fell silent. Dawn was breaking. "Oh, that was a magnificent story," her sister exclaimed. "But what happens next?" Scheherazade sighed and looked at the king. "The rest is even more amazing, but I'm afraid I won't be able to tell it. The sun is rising." The king, desperate to know the ending, was caught in her clever trap. "Please," he commanded, "finish the tale." Scheherazade replied with a gentle bow, "Tomorrow night, my lord, if I am still alive." For the first time in years, the king's curiosity outweighed his cruelty. He spared her life for one more day, just to hear the end of the story. The next night, Scheherazade finished her first incredible tale, and without a moment's pause, began another, even more fascinating one. And just like before, she stopped right at the most suspenseful part as dawn approached. Once again, the king, completely under the spell of her words, kept her alive so he could hear what happened next. This continued, night after night. Scheherazade wove a magnificent tapestry of stories. She told tales of Sinbad the sailor and his fantastic voyages, of Aladdin and his magic lamp, of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. Her stories were filled with brave heroes, cunning merchants, powerful genies, wise kings, and foolish thieves. But these weren't just simple entertainments. Each story carried a hidden lesson, a pearl of wisdom about justice, compassion, the power of forgiveness, and the enduring beauty of the human spirit. For 1001 nights, the king listened. Through her stories, Scheherazade slowly, gently began to heal his wounded heart. He started to see the world not through the lens of his own bitterness, but through the eyes of her characters. He saw loyalty, courage, and love. After 1001 nights of storytelling, King Shahryar was a changed man. He looked at Scheherazade and saw not a potential betrayer, but a woman of incredible wisdom, boundless goodness, and unwavering faith. He finally realized that his own anger had blinded him, causing him to inflict immense suffering on his people. His heart, once a stone, had softened. He set aside his cruel vow forever, made Scheherazade his true and beloved queen, and from that day onward, they ruled together with kindness, justice, and wisdom, bringing a new golden age to Persia. The legend of Scheherazade and her 1001 Nights lives on as a testament to the power of a great story to change hearts and even save a kingdom. The collection of her tales is one of the greatest treasures of world literature. Do you want to hear some of the very stories she told the king? Tales of genies, magic carpets, and incredible adventures that have captivated the world for centuries? If you do, make sure you're subscribed, because in our next video, we're going to dive into the first of Scheherazade's unforgettable tales. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next page of the story.